Hey everyone, this is the Dr. Slytherin with my first real ARK video. Today we'll be discussing quality of life improvements that I feel should come to the game at some point. I do my best to not keep it to a specific dino similar to what the TLC updates are, and more to what changes the game as a whole can make. Now we know every ARK player is shouting, fix meshing, wipe the servers, fix crashing, etc, etc. And while those are all valid complaints and issues that do need to be looked at, this video is looking at smaller yet also quality changes. Changes that would improve the game and are not as massive of an undertaking. Now I'm not a coder or a developer, so some of these may be a bit more complex than I give them credit for, but I feel that these would make the player base appreciate and want to play the game a bit more. This is going to be a 4-part series with at least 100 different changes, and this first video will have the first 25. And with that, let's start off with number 1. And with number 1, we have the Tek Grill. Currently, the best grill that we have in the game has about 50 slots and can cook approximately 2,000 raw meat. That does not include the raw meat that's going to spoil before it gets through it all. It recently got improved, actually, to these metrics in December of last year, 2019, and is much better than it used to be due to the changes in meat stack size and gas consumption. The meat stack size doubled from 20 to 40, and gas is much more durable. A Tek Grill, however, with perhaps 80 to 100 slots and a better cooking time would be much nicer. Maybe one that keeps food expiration times to a halt, which should help when cooking things like prime meat and raw prime fish meat. Perhaps something a little bit smaller because the current grill is kind of big and clunky. Or even if it just is upgraded to something that cooks really fast. The industrial grill in its current form has been with us since July of 2015. An upgraded one would be a great game improvement. And with number 1, we have the Tek Grill. Currently, the best grill that we have in the game has about 50 slots and can cook approximately 2,000 raw meat. That does not include the raw meat that's going to spoil before it gets through it all. It recently got improved, actually, to these metrics in December of last year, 2019, and is much better than it used to be due to the changes in meat stack size and gas consumption. The meat stack size doubled from 20 to 40, and gas is much more durable. A Tek Grill, however, with perhaps 80 to 100 slots and a better cooking time would be much nicer. Maybe one that keeps food expiration times to a halt, which should help when cooking things like prime meat and raw prime fish meat. Perhaps something a little bit smaller because the current grill is kind of big and clunky. Or even if it just is upgraded to something that cooks really fast. The industrial grill in its current form has been with us since July of 2015. An upgraded one would be a great game improvement. And with number 2, we have the Tek Fridge. Fridges also recently got an improvement last year in December. A direct one to them at that. Their slots were increased from 48 to 80, so the need isn't as great as it used to be to get an improvement for the fridge. However, a Tek Fridge that could potentially keep items fresh for longer would always be much appreciated. I would say something about maybe 100 slots with twice as long of a preserving time for things like prime meats would be great, as well as potentially actual benefits for items such as venom and wyvern milk. Another option for a Tek Fridge would be the ability to make jerky in it much quicker than a preserving bin. We only have really one way of making jerky, and it's kind of slow and tedious. A upgraded Tek Fridge could not only be an improvement for the fridge, but it could also be an improvement for the preserving bin. And with number 3, we have the Tek AC. The size of the current ACs in the game, the air conditioners, they're pretty great. They're small, they're convenient, they're compact. I do, however, think that an improvement to the range of the ACs and how many you actually need would be a great quality of life improvement. You can make them even 5 times as expensive as they are, even if just for 2 times the benefits. When we're talking about the benefit, we're talking about how far the range goes and how many you need for certain eggs. There are certain heavy-duty eggs like wyverns and rock drake eggs and magmasaurs that need a ton of ACs. If you could improve the ACs where you don't need as many, then you'll have less items per tribe. The maps will become less cluttered, bases become less cluttered. It's less of a headache, honestly, for heavy-duty eggs. It's just a quality of life improvement that should really come to the game. And with number 4, we have the Tek Spyglass. Basically, it's just an upgraded spyglass that can see further than the current one. It could have crosshairs, which I know has been a big pain point, especially for PvP players. Can see correct colors for dinos that live underwater, especially for someone like me who loves taming colorful dinos. Not being able to easily see the colors of dinos underwater has been such a pain. A Tek Spyglass can fix all of that. Also, being able to see the stats of dinos similar to HLNA from the Genesis update prior to having to knock it out, so we can see how much more torpor we have to hit to see the stats before we knock a dino out. I'm definitely willing to waste a bunch of element to make some of those if I had all of those updates in it. And with number 5, we have the Tek Roof Solarpanels. Now, I know that there is a mod on Steam that does something similar, but the one that I personally would love to see is something that basically replaces the ceilings in your base and basically provides electricity for everything directly below it. It's another option for electricity. Right now, we only have the regular generators and the Tek generators. Make it super, super, super expensive, but it doesn't run on element once a full morning or an afternoon has passed. You could even have it just run on element only when it's nighttime. Things like this allow for other options, so you don't have to have a Tek generator, so you don't have to have an electrical generator, so you don't have to get gasoline, and you don't have to get element. Once you've made it, you're set. If you do it that way, you can basically have players save on element during the daytime, which is just, again, another quality of life improvement. It also gives players customizable options for their ceilings. And number 6 on our list, we have the Tek Motorboat. The current one, there are 2. One's motorized and one's wooden. They both kind of suck. The current one is a bit slow. It's slower than Alpha Lead. Alpha Leads can not only hit it, but it's slower than them. Make a Tek one. Make it faster than the Alpha Leads. Make it still destroyable. You don't want to make it, indestructible, but make it faster than the Alpha Leads. Make it more durable, make it larger, make it faster. Any of those changes is a welcome addition to the game. Even if it's something small and you can't build on, even though I would personally prefer something much, much larger and something faster. But even if it's something small and you can't build on it, just so that we have a super fast way to travel into water without having to risk a dino, as well as it's another option for PvP. I know Wildcard, what it seems like, wants us to play more in the water because there's such a huge amount of water in there, and more people at least play on land than on water. Giving us another option that's more durable in the water is a welcome change. And with number 7 on our list, this is one that is very close to home for me. It's Tek Armor improvements. I rarely wear Tek Armor due to the way I play. I jump, I spam buttons, I run around way too often, and I end up activating all the special abilities Tek Armor has. But not only that, I have 4 servers that I play on, unofficial PvE servers. If I forget that I'm wearing Tek Armor, I'm going to lose the charges between server hops. That's frustrating, and honestly, that's something that should be a thing of the past. Also, the Tek Armor is supposed to be the best armor in the game. It should also have the best weather resistances. I live in a cold region that splits between about 5 degrees and 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Fur works perfectly fine. Wearing Tek Armor, though, even if it's powered up, I'll get the Ice Cube logo. Tek Armor does not feel like the best armor in the game. It doesn't feel like end game stuff. Sure, it has these abilities like the jetpack and being able to move and stuff. That's great, but when it doesn't do the basic things properly, it doesn't make it feel like this is the best armor in the game. I've had to resort to having to wear my fur armor when walking around the base. Only really using the Tek leggings so that I can actually move when I'm moving something heavy. But other than that, I don't use Tek Armor because it doesn't feel like it's the best armor in the game. And yes, before anybody comments, I know that you can use upgraded blueprints for it. You shouldn't have to for something as basic as being too cold or too hot. It's a big quality of life improvement that I think should come for Tek Armor. It's a simple and small one. Tek Infused Structures. This is number 8. This is something that I've actually thought up of a long time ago because I love building in stone and wood. Other people that I know of as well, they love building in stone and wood. But especially if you play on PvP, that is a death sentence. You really can't build in stone or wood. You're just going to get chomped on. Having something like structures that you can infuse with Tek or with element to make certain structures stronger benefits both PvE and PvP. You can infuse basically Tek or element into these structures, so wood or stone, to make them stronger. Metal is my least favorite to build upon. That's a lot to do with the light that reflects off of it, the sound that it makes, and just how common it is actually. I see it around maps. Giving us the option to infuse Tek or element into stone or into wood to fortify it, so to speak, would be fantastic. Basically, you can use it to make stone, wood, metal stronger, or you could use it to change, maybe like, add cool little blue, red lights with it so that people know that you have Tek infused structures. But it allows people to keep the aesthetic that they like while it's still being viable. Tek Teleporter improvements is our next one. I would love to see Tek Teleporters used a little bit more frequently than they currently are. I think one of the best ways to do that is make it run without the need for a Tek generator. Either by putting element into one or inside of one, inside the inventory of a Tek Teleporter, or if you wanted to travel, you would need to have element or some shards in your inventory. What this allows is for more people, more tribes to put out Tek Teleporters and more people to use them. And not enough people use Tek Teleporters because there are so many that are turned off. I personally own land where I would put a teleporter at for public use, but I would not waste element to leave it powered on, as I don't need to teleport there myself. I usually fly there because it's a 2-minute fly. This is unfortunate because it would allow tribes and other players to help other tribes and other players if you basically put the cost of the element onto the player needing to transport. Me, for example, if I put that teleporter and somebody else somewhere far away on the map wants to access it, let them burn the elements. I think a small quality of life change like that helps everybody out. I would not mind if once in a blue moon I wanted to use that option, sure. Maybe I decide I want to move from space to space. Cool. I'll burn that element that one time I plan on using it. Another tribe to use my teleporter, my tribe's teleporter, should have to fork up the element to access it. It shouldn't be on me to do it. And because of that, there are many tribes that are not even going to have a teleporter because it just doesn't make sense. And the next one on our list is improving Tek troughs. Currently, they're good. They're better than the regular troughs that we have. They have, I believe, more inventory size, but they also have the great ability of keeping the food that you put in them refrigerated, which, great. For breeding, it is absolutely phenomenal. However, they should not have the same range as a regular feeding trough. I think that is a huge quality of life change that actually makes them feel much, much better. Because what's the difference of me just building double the amount of feeding troughs, which is something that I'm assuming Wildcard doesn't want because it provides more stress to the server if every tribe is doing it. The more range that Tek troughs have, the less of them I will need around the map. It's a huge quality of life improvement. And the next one is going to be one of the last ones I have for element and Tek, and it's basically to transfer element from server to server. Dust is currently the only option that we really have to do it, but it's also very heavy. Even a small tweak like changing its weight. Right now, 1,000 element dust, which is equivalent to 1 element, is 50 pounds. A small tweak to changing its weight to maybe 20 pounds, 25 pounds would make it so much easier. Right now, it's kind of a drag to have to transfer element from one server to another server. Maybe I'm leaving the server. I want to leave this server, don't want to come back anymore, and I have 3,000 element. That is a lot of transferring between server to server to server. It's just not conducive. It's something that I think if it comes to the game, it makes tribes' lives easier. And next, we're going to talk about cryopods. Currently, I would love for cryopods to show breeding percentages for babies. It's awesome to see that they're still a baby or a juvenile or an adolescent. But seeing more specifics on that would be nice, especially considering there are certain dinos like Gigas, where they're considered babies for over the first full day. In real life, not in game life. In over 24 hours, they're considered babies. I probably won't throw out a baby that's at 0.1% versus I would love to throw out one that's at 8% that's considered still a baby because I can throw a lot more meat in it. Maybe I only have like 2 hours of game time and I actually want to play, but I actually want to feel like I'm doing the breeding process. Being able to see exactly where they are in that, at least in the baby stage. I don't think it matters so much when it's juvie or adolescent, but for the baby stage specifically, I would love to see exactly where they are in that stage. And for the next one, it's another cryopod improvement. I would love to see on the cryopod itself who tamed or who is the dino imprinted by. While some tribes have very few dinos with easy to remember names, other tribes like my own have hundreds or even thousands of dinosaurs. Names get forgotten. Even worse though is when no one even puts a name on it and you'll have 40 Argentavises that are just named Argentavis. And then no one remembers whose Argentavis it is, especially when there's events like right now. We're going through the Easter event. Me and my tribe mate, we're taming a ton of nice colored, Easter colored dinosaurs or animals, whatever. I guarantee you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if we, especially right now, we still haven't named half of them. If we don't name them, we're not going to remember who tamed what. And for me and my tribe mate, that's not going to be a big deal. We use everything, but there are other tribes where people are more protective of what they've tamed and what they've bred. That is a huge quality of life improvement that would help more so those tribes, and in few instances, tribes like mine. This next one also has to do with cryopods. I would love to see on the cryopod itself, before throwing it out, the color regions for the dinos. It would be a quick way to see what colored animals you have at a glance. For breeders like myself, that's insanely good. There are apps that you can use, like I personally use ARK Smart Breeder, that do exactly that. But having something in-game is always going to be the preferable option. Being able to see exactly what color your dinos are, what regions they are those colors, and then certain colors that dinos are not perfectly, like there's white and then there's off-white and then there's like shade of white, you know? And if you want to be 100% certain, hey, is this true black or is it like charcoal? Put it in a cryopod. It'll tell you this is exactly this color. And it doesn't have to say black. It doesn't have to say charcoal. It could say region 1, color 4. Region 2, color 6. And eventually people are going to find out exactly what colors correspond to that number. It just makes breeding lives easier. And moving away from cryopods, we're going to be moving into cryofridges. The first update for the cryofridge that I would love to see is an update to the amount of cryopods we can store. 72 is a little bit of a weird number, as well as the fact that bigger tribes like mine have more and more fridges. I think in my tribe we have about 30 cryofridges, if not honestly more than that. I think a solid 100 spots is a great place for the cryofridges to be in. It allows tribes like my own to have less fridges needing to be placed. Tribes like mine, we tame and breed a lot of Argentavises, T-Rexes, Spinos. We would be able to use certain cryofridges just for that. And again, it's just less structures for us to have to place. It's a great quality of life improvement that I would love to see to come in the game. And this next update also still has to do with the cryofridges, but there's also two different ways we could do this. The pain point is getting eggs for kibble. I think the best way to do it would be to have an egg hopper. Basically, you put some cryopods in there with dinosaurs in them, and after a day or two, in game time, in real time, whatever the case may be, whatever they feel is more balanced, eggs would be there to collect. You go in their inventory and you'll see the cryopods and you'll see some eggs. I think it would be terribly difficult to implement it if you had a bunch of dinos in a single fridge. So if you had Rexes and Spinos and Parasaurs and all that stuff, that might be a little bit too hard. So you could limit it to where if only one specific type of animal is in a cryo fridge, that egg will pop out. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is right now when you throw out most dinos, it'll always poop. It always happens. As soon as it pops out, it poops. Instead of doing that, let's have an egg pop out. I think that immediately fixes the issue of having to have a kibble farm. You need some dinos, throw 10 of them out, pop 10 eggs out. Either fix it with the cryo fridges and let us have like an egg hopper, or have it to be where the dinos, you pop them out, egg pops out. Simplest way to do it. And with number 17, we're going to do a very, very, very quick one. All dinos, all animals in the game should have the ability to move backwards. It is such a pain to when you're riding an Argentavis or a Quetzal, but who are we kidding? No one's riding a Quetzal anymore. When we're riding an Argentavis, you need to step back 2 steps, and you can't. You have to like do that little clockwise circle turn. That's ridiculous. That option should, unless there is a physical reason, like maybe a snake. I can imagine a basilisk wouldn't be able to move backwards like that. There's no real reason that a bird should not be able to do that. There's no reason that other dinos, like Quetzal even, should not have that. Let's just do it for everybody. And with number 18, we have another dino improvement. There are certain dinos that need to be wandering to have their abilities activate. Some of these include, off the top of my head, the dung beetle, which makes fertilizer if it's on wandering with dung in its inventory. The oviraptor, which helps produce eggs for nearby dinos. As well as the snail, which makes snail paste. Just turn this requirement off. Most people have found ways to kind of circumvent that. Like, they've used cages for their dung beetles or cages for the snails. And then for the oviraptor, you can just fill their inventory with like stone or wood. This is a pseudo requirement that's just not fun. It doesn't need to be in the game anymore. It's a quality of life improvement just to turn it off. A similar change was made a couple months ago, if not a year ago already, where mating used to be required. To mate, you would have to have both dinos on wandering. That was improved by taking it out of the game. This is another similar thing. Take it out of the game, it makes everybody's lives a lot easier. Number 19 is a big one. This is something that I've seen people posting since 2016. Being able to Mindwipe dinos. This has been a long requested feature. If you don't know what a Mindwipe is, it is something that your character has access to. It's a drink or a soup that you can make that basically resets your levels. So if you're a level 107 character, you can drink it, and it'll reset you to level 1, but you'll automatically have all your level ups. This allows you to respec your character. So for your personal character, if you need a crafter, if you need someone to carry a lot of weight, if you need a melee character for some reason, if you need to run, if you want to test something out, you have the option to do it once per day. Dinos don't have that option. And the reason that that's an issue is because the game sometimes lags. And that's not me bagging a wildcard. That is something that it does happen. And with that lag, sometimes, and I've done this myself, you add levels into places you didn't really want to add them. So, for example, Rexes that have levels in oxygen. Sometimes you want to trade with somebody. You're looking for a stat that you don't currently have. But the person that you're trying to receive a dino from already leveled it. And they are swearing to you up and down that, hey, this Argentavis has 1,000 weight. And you're looking at it, it has 4,000 weight. But it's also been leveled 60 times. And then you put it into ARK Smart Breeder, and it's like, we don't really know. A great way to just change this is being able to Mindwipe the dino. Mindwiping it, even if it's once for the life of the dino itself, that'd be a great alternative to what we currently have. Or maybe you want to respec your dino. Argentavises, for example, you can use them as stamina birds to fly halfway, the entire way across the map. You can use them as weight birds to carry your entire base from one place to another. Or you can use them as battle birds. And even though they're not viable to do that, or at least I don't use them for that anymore, it would be nice to have that option. To be able to respec or to reset your dino's levels is a great quality of life improvement. Another quality of life improvement that we can hope to look forward to that also has to do with breeding is being able to see hatch stats on the Dino's Ancestors page. This is another way to fix the pain point from the last request. We can currently see the last few parents of the dinos, but without being able to see their birth stats or even the parent stats, the Ancestors page could kind of use a little bit of a refresher. It'd be a great quality of life change that can happen, something that we, breeders especially, would love to see. The next one, number 21. This is a huge one that I have also seen a lot of people request. This is a huge pain point for my tribe specifically as well. Raise the level cap for dinos. Currently, it is 450. I would love to see the level cap reach 500 or even higher. It just seems like it's a hard cap with no real reason anymore. The only real reason I can fathom is that bosses would become too easy. However, they already are, with Rexes and Spinos currently being bred at over 1,000 melee. Even alpha bosses are a cakewalk. It's a travesty to see dinos pop out at above level 370, because you won't even be able to utilize the 88 levels that you can put into them. Even worse, you can accidentally level up a dino past 450. There's no warning, there's no instructions that your dino will be worth nothing if you level them up past it. And then, after the next server update, your dino gets deleted. A lot of people don't know that. And then if you cryopod it to try to save it, it won't let you throw it back out, so you lost it anyway. This also adds more reason to add the Dino Mindwipes that we just spoke about, because if I accidentally leveled up my dino past 450, I can Mindwipe it. Drop it back down to its original level, and then level it back up. Currently, you level a dino past 450, it's as good as dead. This seems to be a restriction in the game that is there since Legacy, due to, I mean, the rumors are a glitch or an admin accidentally put a super high level dino in the game and then it got bred into other dinos. And that, yeah, I get it. I understand why it was put in, but at this point, this is 4, 5, 6 years later after the fact. The dinos that we have now are probably close to, or if not better than the dinos that were released back then. It seems like it's a cap that's just meant to restrict us rather than let us enjoy the game the way we want to play. Alright, this next one's going to be a small request, but I think almost as important and definitely game-changing as any of the other ones that have been on the list. Procoptodons, the kangaroos, they somewhat recently, about a year or two ago, they got a TLC update. One of the big improvements was that if you have a baby dino or a juvenile dino, these tend to be the small ones. So like all your shoulder dinos, vultures and stuff like that, as well as your thylas, your dire wolves, etc. If you have them in the pouch when they're raising out, they eat less food and they also get double the imprint bonus. Now that's great and all, but there's a couple issues with that. Well, the biggest issue that has happened to me often is when you log out, no one else is on your tribe is online, your base de-renders. When you come back in, it'll say the dinosaur that was in the pouch died. It'll say died of the starvation, or in a couple of cases that happened to me, it died by getting attacked by another dino. So a couple times it actually happened to me where I had, like, let's say a thyla, and it would say, your thyla has died to an Argentavis. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Did an Argentavis reach into my base? I don't really remember how I figured it out, but I am almost 100% sure that the dinos in your pouch, in the kangaroo's pouch, get teleported somehow, some way. It means that the Procoptodons aren't as useful as they could be. It's a risk to have them be utilized, and the easiest way to fix it is to change their ability from in the pouch, which I know is like, it's a cool way to do it, and especially, you know, because the kangaroos are known to have the pouches and do it for. If you make it a radius effect, where, oh, if you have 2 kangaroos out, it'll grab the 2 highest level dinos, the 2 lowest level dinos, whatever the case may be, where as long as they're within the radius of the Procoptodon, it'll get that same boost. Plus, it'll help us with the imprints. And that's a much, much welcome addition to the game. Going back a bit, we spoke about the eggs, dinos collecting eggs, people using egg farms, kibble farms. Another way, so if you're not able to put in if Wildcard is not able to put in a egg hopper, or a better way to collect eggs, and kibble farms still is the best way to collect eggs, there should be a dino. It doesn't matter which dino specifically. I think, personally, the Pegomastics would be a great option, especially for PvE, where a dino runs around collecting eggs. In the same way that the Machops sort of harvest things on its own as it's wandering, you can have the Pegomastics wander, or you don't have to even, or hopefully, ideally, we take that requirement off, but where it just collects dino eggs, fertilized, non-fertilized, whatever, keeps it in its inventory. You can also have the Oviraptor do this too, since it's like a big egg hoarder. You can have the Basilisk do it, that's another option as well. But it would be great if the other option for egg hoppers or cryopod pops and an egg pops out too, if those are not ways to get eggs to come out, let us have a dino that will automatically seek eggs, keep them in their inventory, and we can just check it. Another thing that has to do with breeding that would be a much welcome addition is some type of dino alerting us to when one of your eggs are about to hatch or when a pregnancy is about to finish up. I think there are also another few dinos that would be great for this. The kangaroo, the parasaur, the machops, the dodo, the oviraptor. These are all great choices. I think having it at about 1%, 2% to go would be great. Or if you're going to do it on a timer, 5 minutes at most, where it just starts honking or whatever. You could have the Quetzal do this because it has that annoying honk, honk, honk. Just something that alerts us like, hey, what's that noise? Oh, my babies. Because this has happened to my tribe a lot. Sometimes you just forget. You have eggs that take 4 hours to hatch out. You forget because you're not going to sit next to your egg sitting there for 4 hours. You're going to run around and do things, and all of a sudden, where's my egg? Oh, man. And then sometimes, especially since you need air conditioners to pop those eggs, dinos melt into the floor or they melt into the air conditioner, and then you have to break the air conditioners to break them out, and that's such a pain. If you have this alerting dino that says, hey, something's hatching, this won't be a problem anymore. And with the last one on the list, while it's probably the least important, but it is probably one of the most annoying things that especially PvE players have to deal with, is to fix it raining inside your closed buildings. This happens when your building is more than 4 walls high. I think it's like after 4 or 5. The game doesn't recognize where your ceiling is or something like that. And if it's raining outside, it's also going to rain inside your base. It doesn't even rehydrate you. It just rains in your building. It's such a small change, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm sure this has been an issue that's been happening for years, and I'm sure there's something that's stopping them from doing it, because I would like to think that if it's such a small fix, they would have done it already. But this is a change that I don't know any single player that is like, oh, this is no big deal. Every player that I know, I'm like, oh, why is it raining in my base? This is stupid. Some people I know have even gone so far as to build only 3 stories high or 3 walls high because they hate the rain. It's a big quality of life change that would at least make some small inconveniences go away. And with that, we've completed part 1 of this video series. I'd like to know, what is your most requested quality of life change that you want to come to the game? Comment down below, and you may see yours in the next video. Part 2 should be out sometime later this week or early next week. And you guys can also follow me on Twitch with the same username, the Dr. Slytherin, where I stream ARK and Pokemon mostly. Please like, subscribe for more ARK content. Let me know that you liked the video. Let me know that you want to see more. And I hope you guys all have a nice day.